But now, one thing is that they say if there are no consequences, impunity becomes the order.
Absolutely.
And we've been talking about the deployment of technology and IT. We can't say as a nation we don't have the capacity. We do have the capacity because I remember there was this just some years back. We had this SIM card registration, and it was lauded as one critical tool with which to nab these terrorists and bandits. In all this, security architecture overhaul in that, what role can the NCC, that has the backbone of our database, of our technology, play? Are we involving them enough? Or we just invite them for meeting and all that?
It was actually the then Minister of Digital Economy, Professor Pantami, that came to justify to Nigerians why we had to suffer the ordeal of following those long, tumultuous queues to ensure that we are onboarded onto the NIM and get registered, and that one of the key things, deliverables, is they will be able to separate, good Nigerians or track whatever. Water under the bridge, that has not been done. By the way, for the purpose of disclosure, my background is IT. I'm a chartered IT professional by the Royal Charter of the British Computer Society. I'm a fellow of the Institute of Analysts and Programmers of the United Kingdom. So 30 years ago or 35 years ago when I started practice, I started IT, reaching the top echelon of IT practice. So I know how these things work, right? Technology is as good as the people that deploy it. Technology is as good as the people that use it. And one very simple example is this. The bandits in the jungle use technology. They are on TikTok, they are on social media. They use satellite phones, they use drones, they do reconnaissance, they do surveillance, right? Using technology. These people we consider ragtag in the jungle are using technology efficiently. When we give them cash, when we try to settle the bandits, whether it's individuals or government, ask yourself, how does that money goes back into the economy? It's using technology. So we have no excuse to have not been able to deploy technology, even if it is to a certain extent. We have no excuse for not collaborating with the global technology leaders to deploy the hardware and the software and the middleware to ensure that we kill this cankerworm, because if we don't resolve insecurity, all the grammar about economy, all the grammar about development is not going to happen. And that is why the key issue here is the political will at the top line, and the critical players that will be able to use the technology. Because if a minister some years ago said, this is why we are doing it, have we followed? Have we ensured why it is not done? And if it is not done, who was taken out? You talked about the NCC and other critical players within the value chain of IT deployment in Nigeria. How are we keen there, and how are we equipping the soldiers and the police to use technology?
All right.